Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I will wait just 15 seconds if someone will join us today. So let me wait. Okay, I can see some ambassadors are joining us. So just a minute. Okay, so we can start for today. Thank you so much for joining us in this meeting. Today we have a wonderful speaker, but I want to start this presentation. First of all, I want to send my deepest condolence to the Haitian ambassadors for the terrible earthquake a few days ago. Also, I want to remind you that in the coming weeks, the Virtual Island Summit will take place from September 7, from September 6 to 12. So you are all invited to participate there. And now I want to introduce, first of all, Simon Turcas. He is the content creator of Island Innovation. So Simon will introduce Kim to this training session. So Simon.
Thanks very much, Isabel, and hello everybody. Great to see you all again. As Isabel said, if you didn't see me before in the training session I did previously, I'm the content creator at Island Innovation, and yeah, I'd just like to offer my sincere thoughts, and my thoughts go out to the people of Haiti and our ambassadors from Haiti. Terrible situation there. I hope it improves soon. I want to introduce our speaker today, who's going to be giving the training session. It's Kim she's from Belgium, but she's living in the Canary Islands, and that's where I originally met her when I was living out there as well. She was working at a hotel chain out there, but we later on collaborated on a project called Canary Green, which was focused on helping to protect the natural environment in the Canary Islands. So it involved things like beach cleanups and promoting the renewable and technology that's being developed in Tenerife. And Kim also was organizing various networking sessions to bring together sustainable brands and get people talking about these kind of issues, a bit like what this training session is going to be like today. So just before I introduce and pass over to Kim, just want to remind you all to sign up for the Virtual Island Summit, like Isabel mentioned, and you can sign up at virtualislandsummit.com. It's running from the 6th till the 12th of September, so just under 3 weeks away now, very soon. And there should be hopefully over 10,000 attendees from 500 islands, and hopefully we'll have around 160 speakers. And there'll be policymakers, entrepreneurs, and politicians, business leaders, variety of different people talking about all kinds of topics, such as the Sustainable Development Goals. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to my friend, Kim, who's going to be giving a presentation now to you all. Hi, Kim.
Hi, thank you for a lovely introduction, and also thank you, first of all, for the invite. I'm always happy when it comes to speaking about sustainability. I'm going to I'm going to share my screen because I've prepared a small presentation. I'm not sure, can you all see it?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So today we're going to talk about how to set up and grow a sustainable business. I do want to start saying at first, like, it's not just set up and start a new business. If, for instance, somebody should have a business wanting to make it more sustainable or on the path of sustainable change, then I feel this can be helpful as well. It's not just for new businesses. But as said, I'm Kim. I'm the Sustainable Connector. My brand's called Slow & Co. and is all about sustainable collaboration. A bit of background, because the first thing I want to say is this is not going to be the typical training. I'm going to be speaking from my very own experience. And to do that, I give you a bit of background info. So I'm a sole parent to a 7-year-old boy, because my life changed completely 4 years ago when I lost my husband to cancer, and hence my path onto sustainability. It's a life-changing event, and it makes you see things differently. What I've always done, and as Simon mentioned as well, I organize networking events. I've been called by one of the other, Simon knows her as well, friends of mine, like the networking queen. So I've adapted that terminology. I love it. And then thirdly, I'm a sustainable entrepreneur. So my projects basically help sustainable change makers to create and to connect. We do that via sustainable networking events. I have created Canarias Eco, which is a sustainable marketplace, or a marketplace where sustainable brands from the islands can sell their products and services. And I also help individual businesses implement practical change. For instance, a hotel that wants to change their amenities, a graphic designer wanting to launch their sustainable project. I just wanted to give that outline, not as much as in this is all about promoting myself, but more as in that you are all aware of what my business actually does and what we do with my different projects. So we're going to talk today about what I call the ABC of sustainable business, which would be assess your area, beginning a business, and then the C, which is actually 3 C's, care, connect, and change. So let's start with the A, assess your area. Everybody knows right now the global market. I mean, recently the IPCC report came out. The house is absolutely on fire. So there is an urgent need for change. And that is the global market. But when I speak about assessing your area, I'm speaking about more than just typical market research. In my humble opinion, there are 2 key areas to be looked at when you start or grow a business sustainably or adapt it to change. These would be the 2. One is your market. Wonderful image of my island, my adoptive island, which is Tenerife. And secondly would be yourself. These are 2 areas that I feel it's very important when launching a business or adopting sustainable change to look at. So one, there is your market, from location to consumer behavior, but then there is yourself, from your very own talent to your very own weaknesses. So let's start with your market. I am obviously speaking, as said, from my own experience. So maybe this isn't relevant for everywhere, but at least I know all of us are island communities. And these are the things I found relevant during assessing my market in the Canary Islands. I think islands in itself have advantages and disadvantages. Let's start with maybe the challenges. Islands mainly are remote, so they need more import. And in our case, in the Canary Islands, a true challenge is we are highly dependent on tourism. And we all know how that went the last few, well, let's say years already. But then to me, at the same time, there is an absolute advantage of being islands. If I compare it to my home country, as Simon said, I'm Belgian, I feel on the islands, there's a stronger community sense. And that does a lot. People come together, brands come together. And at the same time, if you say, okay, we need to import a lot, then that at the same time to me means there's an opportunity there. There's a more opportunity to support somehow the local economy. The second one that I find very relevant is digitalization.
Kim, sorry,
yes?
can I just stop you 1 second? Is your PowerPoint supposed to be, have the slides supposed to be changing or not yet? Because they haven't changed yet.
At all?
No, it's still on the how to set up and grow a sustainable business.
Yes, it is. I'm on slide 8 already.
Oh no.
Just,
yeah, I wasn't sure, but as people have said in the comments, so I wasn't sure, but yeah, it hasn't changed yet for anybody.
okay, let me stop sharing and start sharing. Maybe I shared the wrong screen then. Just a second.
Okay, thanks.
Let's do this again. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah, we can see your slides.
Okay. So, well, the former slides was basically what I just mentioned. So this is me and the talk today, the ABC of business, the two key areas, your market and yourself. And I was here on islands and digitalization. So thank you for pointing out that that went wrong. But I hope you're seeing it okay now. Awesome. So the second one, digitalization. Again, maybe a disadvantage I always feel that within the Canary Islands, e-commerce, buying online, booking online isn't that embedded yet in the culture as it might be in other destinations. But obviously, it's only a matter of time. So hence, I see it as another growing opportunity. And I think that's like that in many destinations around the world, especially when the pandemic hit. I mean, like remote working, online e-commerce, everything went up. So even if you were in the product business, I suggest you look into how could you possibly digitalize part of your business. And then the last one, I call it bridges or bridging the gap. I am a foreigner in a different culture. I'm Belgian, I'm still European, but still you can sense the difference somehow. Obviously, I come from my culture. Spanish might have different customs, different traditions, etc. At the same time, I don't know how much the percentage would be, but the islands are very much a multicultural environment. There's loads of nationalities living here. So once again, where maybe some people might say, okay, that might be a challenge, I saw an advantage and an opportunity with the languages I speak, the different countries I've lived in, and the connections I have in different countries. Well, I can bridge that gap in between local culture and then other countries as well, the Canary Islands with Belgium and so on. So my suggestion when you do this is focus on the advantages. Don't get stuck in the disadvantages and the challenges. Then the next one, do you still see the presentation now? Okay, good.
Still on the things I found relevant for the Canary Islands. It's still on that slide.
I don't know what's going on. It keeps on disappearing. Just a second, sorry. Can you see it now? I think I found why. So then there's you. This one to me is a very important one. Maybe even more important. I'm not saying that when you set up a business, that a business plan and research and so on aren't relevant. But I think those things I find relevant about and for me are even more important than anything else, because in the end, it is you behind a business. It is you as a person. And these are three things that I find very important. I think most of us know Simon Sinek's Golden Circle that starts with why. My why personally is that I envision a world where brands and individuals work together to create a sustainable future on every single level, socially, economically, environmentally. I suggest if you do not know Simon Sinek, look him up, find out what the Golden Circle is about and find your very own why, because it will help you on the path towards sustainable change and towards setting up a business. Then there's this other guy called Gay Hendricks. He wrote a book called The Big Leap. And he speaks about different zones, the zone of incompetence, the zone of competence, the zone of excellence, and the zone of genius. I'm not going to go into detail because if not, we'll be here for like more than an hour. But let's focus on the zone of genius. The zone of genius is what your true talent is. that you absolutely love what you do. It doesn't feel even like an effort. It comes natural to you. In my case, that was networking. So when you can create a business around your true talent and what comes natural to you, then that is absolutely perfect, because it'll work a lot easier than anything else. So once again, if you haven't heard about the Zone of Genius or Gay Hendricks, then feel free to look him up. He has some very interesting books. Now, these two are like, oh yes, let's find my why, let's do the Zone of Genius. But the third one to me is like, know thyself, know your weaknesses.
You are on the Breakfast program.
Yeah, but no
I'm hearing a lot of noise all of a sudden.
program is started. You know,
So
If you bring in any,
we got a cat team. We
Yeah,
could try
check that.
helping.
and now how the
anyways, I'll try and continue.
gone by
Are all of you
Okay.
hearing that?
guys,
Okay, thank you. So know thyself. In marketing terms, we always speak about the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I personally recommend to do a personal SWOT, not just on a marketing and business level. Do your own. What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your strengths? And what are your threats? For me, for instance, I might even find this more important than your market research and everything else. Because for me, I started working with a business coach because of knowing myself. I knew what my weaknesses were and are. And that's why I chose to work with a business coach to help me with those. So then the next step is beginning your business. The B of the ABC. The most important word in this phrase is actually begin. Again, two key areas. Start small, but please dream big, and stay true, but with an open mind. Stay true to yourself, but with a very open mind. I'll go into those two right now. So start small, as in take it step by step, because I think on every level, a business can be a bit overwhelming, but definitely when it comes to sustainability, it's such a broad topic that you're kind of like, where do I start? How do I do this? So try and avoid overwhelm in this stage. Hence, these 3 tips. Don't plan forever. You have to do a business plan, market research. Lots of plans have to be made, but don't stay stuck in that stage. It's important, but you need to kind of at some point launch something, do something. That's what I mean with like, don't plan forever. Then focus, because we all know that sustainability has 3 pillars. You can also say people, planet, profit. Focus on one to start out with. If you do so, for me, for instance, the most important one, well, actually for me it were 2. It were the environmental one and then the economical one. But automatically when you focus on 1 out of 3, the rest will follow. Choose the one you feel most comfortable with. Choose the one that has more of an interest to you and you feel aligned with, and then automatically it'll be easier. And then the third one, a very, very extremely important one that I need to remind myself almost every single day. Remember this, MVP, minimum viable products. You get there step by step. I used to be, for instance, my networking events. I would be looking for the perfect software to make it all happen. In the end, I just launched them with Zoom and Eventbrite because I'm kind of like, why would I need the most sophisticated software already? Same thing for my marketplace. I wanted to add all the possible capabilities and functionalities right from the start. Don't start with a minimum viable version or product, launch it, see how it goes, and keep working on it. The same goes for sustainability. Start small, step by step, implement one change at a time, and not everything together, because you will definitely go in overwhelm. Then stay true. We've spoken about this right before the session. You do not only talk the talk, you walk the walk. You walk the talk. What you say you'll do is so important that it adds up to your actions. So again, in this case, 3 tips. Although they all go together, you will, when starting a business, when having a business, when trying to implement sustainability in that business, you will receive loads of input. And all these go, it's like, yeah, listen to the input from others, but stick to your own principles and values. You won't only get input, you will even get offers, as in, I want to collaborate with you, I want to do this with you. So to me, it was important to kind of stick to, I do not want to lose myself. So always remember who you are. Don't lose yourself. Don't compromise. Remember your values and stick to them and trust yourself that you've got this. One example is, for instance, sometimes I get offered things that aren't actually aligned with my values, that aren't sustainable enough. And I choose not to work then with those clients or collaborators. So being true to your values within your business, I think, is enormously important. And then there's the C of the ABC. I think I could do a separate session entirely on this C. Care, connect, and change. The 3 C's within the C. And let's start with the care. Do you really care? And I'm not saying ask yourself this question. I'm saying ask your clients, ask your collaborators. Towards yourself, be authentic and honest about your sustainability concerns in your communication. I think nowadays everybody's heard about greenwashing, and there's like, I feel there's 2 extremes. On the one hand, there's greenwashing, as in, hey, this is a trend, I'm going to catch on. The biggest companies that do so many things wrong will then do one thing good, launch it as if they're saving the world. That to me is greenwashing. I'm kind of like, look at the rest of the business. Don't over promote those good actions. But then there's, on the other hand, small businesses that are making a huge difference and feel themselves that they are not sustainable enough yet to be communicating about it. And I think that's wrong as well. Every single step you take in your marketing mix, in your communication, in your conversations, let people know what you don't do perfect or what you struggle with and what you do, what you have done, but not to extremes. But the important thing here is the care part. And as said, if I notice that a possible client does not care enough about sustainability, but is just trying to work with me because they want to like hop on the train of sustainability, then I will not work with that client. You need to be honest about wanting that sustainable change. Then there's the connect bits. Good one. This is my thing. This is my zone of genius. It's more than just networking. Within your business, I feel networking is a very, very important tool to grow your business, to set up your business, to make yourself known out there. But you have to consider help and support a finite resource. If we're talking sustainability with a short-term mindset, you will miss out without reaching that full potential of what networking can do for you. Developing real quality relationships takes time and effort. So I always advise everybody to think of help and support as finite resources. You take, and if you take more than you actually create, it's the same like with, I don't know, everything, every resource. If you take more than we create, then those actions are unsustainable because the resource will run out at some point. So your network, you have to consider it as your very own community and your support as your very own resource. And if you give more all the time, if you go into networking as in, hey, I want to do my sales pitch and get out and what's in it for me, then it's not going to work. And I'm telling you that within my sustainable networking events, the ones we organize, you automatically see it. You feel it's a different vibe. Then surround yourself, learn from others. When you connect to people that know more than you. Connect to people that are smarter, and know more in depth than you. In my case, I know a little bit about a lot of stuff, but there's nothing really within sustainability that I know into depth. But when somebody would ask me, I know perfectly who to connect that person to. And that's because you ask questions, you talk to people. And then if you can't, you just say, well, I'm not your person, but I know somebody that will be willing to help you. And at the same time, while speaking to those people, you will learn for your very own business. You will grow as a person and you will grow your business. And then the most important one, which I feel we're still very far off, competition. What's that? I prefer to convert any possible competitor into an ally. I think it is not sustainable either to just keep everything to yourself. Try and create a collaboration, a synergy, work together, make more of a difference, instead of thinking they are doing the same and they are my competitors. Everybody can learn from one another. As said, I could keep talking about the connection. So there's many ways how to connect in sustainable ways. There's tips and tricks how to do so, online, offline. If you want to know more, feel free to reach out at some point, because I don't want to keep on going here and pass my time. The last C, change. If you've done this ABC, you've assessed your area, mainly focusing on yourself and what you stand for and so on, your market, then you've actually begun that business and you care and you've connected. That is the moment when you create real change and you start impacting. That's when you create an impact. Also, because for me, the value chain, I prefer calling it value chain instead of supply chain, is very important. When I hire somebody, from the person that would do my social media to a supplier for one of my clients or whatever, I ask them questions about their sustainability, about where do they get their materials from. So it's the same thing. You create change if you ask the right questions to your value chain and it doesn't just stay with you. It's a really important one. I always, Adam, my business coach, once told me the example. He used to work for IKEA, and he once set the example, which to me is a very important one, as in they found out something with a supplier that went all wrong, not sustainable. I think it had to do with like the goose feather pillows or whatever. They actually went in and talked to that supplier, and instead of changing the supplier, they actually said, how can we change your process? How can we adapt so we as your client can keep working with you and you as a supplier become more sustainable? That's the way to go about, and not say, okay, you're not sustainable, then move on, I'm taking another supplier. No, work with them to make sure that they then are willing to change as well. And when all of this happens, automatically you will start attracting people, projects, collaborations. So this is the part where I say, like, talk the talk, but even more so, walk the walk. If you do that all the time, then automatically people start finding you, connecting with you, because they feel aligned with your values. And I want to end this presentation with a quote I always use from Anne-Marie Bonneau, who's the Zero Waste Chef. If there is one thing I can say, then she always said, we don't need a handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need millions doing it imperfectly. For me, that quote can be translated to every single topic within sustainability. We don't need people. To be fair, there is no such thing as perfect sustainability, 100% sustainable. We will always have an amount of impact. But I think what we need is that the world and all of us, business owners, in our private lives, in our business lives, everywhere, do a part and try and inspire others to do that as well. But if those others can't do everything, then fine. If they just take a few steps, then that is something already. And that's where I go back to the very beginning, like, start small, encourage others as well to start small. Don't go thinking they'll do everything from the start. It's one recommendation I have to every single business and every single person, like step by step, and don't get in that overwhelm. And obviously, last but not least, if anybody feels like connecting with me, then here I've outlined all my social media. There's one that you might not know yet, and I wanted to share that with you guys. It's called Bisfluence. If you want to have a link, then reach out. It's a new professional networking platform launched in the States. They just went into a different version. And their slogan is actually real business, real people, real influence. I found them by coincidence through a blog post, and I absolutely love the community on there. Very genuine, very real. So it totally aligns with my values and principles, as in, okay, you connect in the right way, you network in the right way. I all invite you to join one of our monthly sustainable networking events. We do them online once a month. Tomorrow I have an English one talking about natural cosmetics, and then it's alternating. 1 month Spanish, 1 month in English. And last but not least, if you feel inspired or you think, hey, I want to check out that marketplace, then visit canarias.eco, and there you'll find the new version of the marketplace. I hope this was interesting for all of you. Once again, thank you to Island Innovations for having me. And if there's any question, then I would say now is the time.
Thank you once again for joining us, Kim. That was a fantastic presentation and really insightful. Loved all the information you've given in it. And I think you made some really valid points, such as not trying to do everything at once, not trying to get everything perfect, because it's really impossible. I think perfection is an illusion, and it often hinders us from actually starting anything. It's kind of an excuse people use sometimes. They want everything to be perfect. But yeah, I'd love to invite the audience to if anybody's got any questions, please put them in the chat. Oh, Yudish says, which new platform is it that you mentioned?
It's Bisfluence. I'll put the link in the chat. I'm looking it up now.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'm reading somebody saying, fantastic presentation. That makes me happy.
Paula says, what about laws? Could you be a bit more specific, Paula?
Yeah, that's quite broad.
Broad, yeah.
I would love to know a bit more about that question. Makes it easier to reply.
Oh, Sharon says she'd love to reach out to you as well, which is good, online. Perfect one. Thank you very much, from Deborah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I totally agree with what you believe, Sharon. Some good, really nice comments coming in.
I can see Stacy wants to say something. So Stacy, okay.
Yes.
Hi, first of all, Kim, thank you. That was an amazing presentation. It's very, very inspirational as well. I can really relate to when you're saying you're a mom, because I have a son who is 15. And a lot of what we do as parents or as single parents, we really want to create something sustainable for the future for our kids, but also something that we love doing, because you want to be an example of, you don't want to become a slave to the job or the slave to just earning a living and not having quality of life. So particularly as a woman, you're setting up the idea of independence and, trying to make your way forward in the world and keep yourself happy as well. That really, really inspired me. So I had to say thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
So I will be reaching out to you as well and checking all your contact information. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, if anybody, because obviously I stopped sharing my screen already, but if you just click, I think if you put my name into LinkedIn, I'll come up anyway. I think, was it because Paula expanded a little bit on that? I saw something, are the laws well disposed to entrepreneurship on islands, on the Canary Islands? Diplomatic question. The Spain in general, let's not be specific about the Canary Islands. They have some programs in place that if you've been, for instance, non-employed for a couple of years and so on, then you can say, okay, you get a special, how do you say that? I'm thinking in Spanish. My brain's taking a bit of time right now. Like a special rate for Social Security. But once, so for instance, if I compare it to my country, back in Belgium, I've been self-employed as well, then according to your income, you pay Social Security. Here you don't. It's kind of like, it doesn't matter how little or big money you pay, that is it. Which to start out is kind of like, okay, so you get 2 years where you actually pay a little bit less and it goes up in scales, but then it's quite the chunk. It's one of the, I think, not, let's say, most expensive countries, depending on how much income you have, obviously, to become an entrepreneur. They try and do more stuff. I still feel, and I felt that way in Belgium as well, to be fair, it's not just Spain, the bureaucracy to get certain subsidies, to get certain, I don't know, subsidies, help, anything. It's sometimes, for instance, with my marketplace, I think I could have applied for certain things, but then I really had to consider, as in, will I be working on this for 5 days and maybe not get the subsidy, or do I just advance with my project? So it's not a yes, it's not a no. They try to do some things, but in my opinion, they could do a lot more. A lot more. So, I'm trying to read. Thank you for the question, by the way, Paula.
Greenwashing's been raised as an issue by Kai as well. Greenwashing is a typical marketing tool from big companies to gain free promotion. Lots of people fall for it. Do you see that as a big issue in the Canary Islands, Kim? Is there a lot of greenwashing?
I think it's a big issue everywhere by now. I mean, let's be honest, it's done by the big brands. The big brands are everywhere. So funnily enough, because tomorrow the networking topic is on natural cosmetics, that's one sector where that is done all the time. It's kind of natural, vegan. Vegan is a new thing. Vegan pops up everywhere all of a sudden. But then vegan doesn't necessarily mean it's good for the environment or it's really sustainable and so on. So, but yes, lots of people fall for it. It's always this, how do you say that, like double feeling I have. On the one hand, I like seeing in like the bigger supermarket chains that they have certain products like vegan products or vegan cosmetics that you didn't used to see, but then there's a part of me that kind of feels like, but that was not supposed to go that way. So yeah, greenwashing is an issue. Once you kind of get on the sustainable road and you learn more and more about it, you'll be able to detect it as well. But unfortunately, lots of people still fall for it.
And how would you recommend a business, a sustainable, or someone who wants to start a sustainable business, makes themselves or avoids being seen as greenwashing, like falling into that trap, let's say?
What I mentioned in the presentation, I think, is very, be honest, but also be honest about what you're not doing. Because it might be, I help clients at times and they're just being honest, but it's not because they don't want to. It's because on a supplier level, they can't find the right supplier, or as said, we are on islands. Maybe it can't reach, the material can't get here, whichever it is. So, and also if you do communicate on sustainable initiatives, do that once you've done them. Don't talk about, I will be doing this and this and that, and then maybe you never end up doing it because it didn't turn out to be that easy as you expected. So, but I think the best thing is literally to be honest, and at the same time, people will tell. There's one huge American brand called Patagonia. And for instance, they had a tax reduction in the US during the Trump age, but all that money they actually made on the tax savings, they donated to charities that are doing really good stuff for the environment and so on. So I think greenwashing is a global topic, not just in the Canary Islands.
100% agree. I see the word sustainability popping up more and more in advertising that probably isn't sustainable. The products that they're selling isn't as sustainable as they want us to believe.
I think a lot of times people don't know what sustainability is yet. I feel when I give a training or I don't know, or I talk to people, they all think it's the environmental pillar and that's it. And then you're kind of like, well, no, that's not it. There's like the social aspect of things. I mean, sustainable development goals, for instance, come up more and more and more, but they're not widespread and well known all over. So there's still lots of work to be done. But yes, it's starting to trend. And as I said, it's that double feeling. It's a good thing. And at the same time, it's kind of like, oh, but hey. I'm trying to read the rest. So natural cosmetics, it's almost a contradiction in itself. Join us tomorrow, you'll see it's not. There's actually some really interesting people doing really cool stuff when it comes to cosmetics. So anybody, how long has the idea of sustainability been around? Ooh, good question. To be honest, I don't know the reply to that, how long that's been around and who's come up with that word. Why have we not really moved the needle on achieving sustainable targets? I had this discussion this very morning. I think it is very easy for everybody to say that the other party should do it. As a consumer, to say the government is responsible, as the government saying the private sector, as the private sector saying the consumer should demand this. I think all of us individually will have to take some sort of action and then see what happens and try. Obviously, just one person, it's with that same quote. We need billions of people, and whether you are a business owner doing this in your individual life, whether it's on the social aspect you're working, because as said, some people will feel more comfortable with certain topics within sustainability. That is awesome. I'm all for positive reinforcement. But there's a lot of, I don't think I can impact enough with my small business or my side of whichever situation I'm in. So the others should move. No, we should all move, and preferably together. I'm all about Sustainable Development Goal number 17, creating alliances, which is the one that is needed to make the other 16 succeed. And as said, that is why Island Innovation to me and the Virtual Island Summit seems so interesting, because our goals are very aligned. So I'm not sure if that is a reply.
Thanks, Kim. I definitely think our goals are aligned, definitely. I think we've got a question from Stacey's got a hand up, the hand emoji.
Yeah, the hand emojis, yes. I just prefer to speak rather than type because I'm a very slow typer. But I wanted to say, Kim, as well, thank you for your, I think you've raised the point that it's important to be a conscious consumer, you know, and it is possible to do that as opposed to just, you know, thinking that, you know, latching onto a buzzword like sustainability and not trying to have some awareness of what it actually means. And then, you know, when you raise the point about, you know, sometimes you think that you won't make a difference, but, you know, if each person, billions of each of us took one single small step, it would have a ripple effect. So it's kind of for us to believe in terms of even your business, you know, if you do something, as you say, that's ethical and it's authentic, that will resonate with people. It will resonate with whoever you're targeting, as it were. So, you know, I thanks for that reminder to be a conscious consumer and just actually really be aware of what's really going on. I think that's really important.
Thank you. And well, you're welcome. I said, if there's something I love talking about, then it's that. But it is. Because I read from Deborah as well, in my opinion, we must include world vision to sustainability plus economic, social, environmental. I totally agree. And that seems interesting. The movie selected by the Cannes Film Festival. Okay, I'm going to try and remember that. Oh, somebody answered the question when sustainability came around. Awesome. Was the first one, Hans Karl von Karlowitz was the first one to clearly formulate the concept of sustainability in forestry in a publication in 1713. Oh my God, I had no idea it's been around that long. It's arguably the earliest recorded use of the term sustainability, I'd imagine. Thank you, David, for sharing that information. I had no idea. I've learned something new today. Awesome. It was the Brundtland's Commission report. He goes on. I'm just reading. But it was the Brundtland Commission's report, Our Common Future in 1987, that really put sustainability on the global agenda. Very interesting. See? That's what I meant when I said I myself do not feel that I have in-depth knowledge, but more of a general vision, knowing who to connect. So I just got a message from Isabel that because I think we've got like 13 minutes left, more or less, to go into breakout rooms. Who's doing that? Because I'm all up for breakout rooms. I love breakout rooms, so people can network, connect. Let's talk.
Okay, so we will go to the breakout rooms. Let me see. So I will stop the recording. Okay, just a minute. Okay. So you can start the breakout room. What will be the topic for the breakout rooms, Kim?
To be fair, since I'm like a big connector, I would love for all of you to come together and talk about how you feel is the best way to connect with other people, how you do that within your own very own circle. Let's share some tips and tricks on how to connect more, because it's through connections and alliances that we can make a bigger difference. So I feel that is a very important one.
Okay, thank you. You can go to your breakout rooms now.
The breakout rooms, Kim, would you mind saying goodbye to the people that are watching on social media?
Okay, so thank you so much for all of the participants that are watching this really interesting meeting today. So I want to say thank you to all of our audience. I hope to see you in the next training session. We will have more training sessions in the coming month. So next month, we will not have a training session because it's the Virtual Island Summit 2021. So we have different topics there that it would be really interesting for you. I invite you all to participate there from September 6 to 12 this year. You can register for free. We have 19 days left for this project. So this virtual event is for sharing knowledge for resilient, sustainable, and prosperous islands worldwide. And you can include what is the Virtual Island Summit. I will tell you a little bit more about that. So free access to world-class expert. The summit will be a free event to attend in order to ensure maximum accessibility to expertise from a variety of fields. A zero carbon conference. The summit will use a modern technology to maximize opportunity for participation and minimize harmful greenhouse gas emissions. So this is so important. Interactive sessions in various formats. The summit will imitate a traditional in-person event with opportunity to interact with the speakers and other attendees with the goal of creating an online community. So we will have, and we will provide you virtual networking sessions. The Sustainable Development Goals and beyond. The summit will cover all the 17 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and a diverse range of viewpoints, speakers, and attendees from 100+ islands community, including the Arctic, Caribbean, Europe, Indian Ocean, Pacific Islands, South America, and beyond. Cross-sector collaboration. The summit will emphasize the need for input and partnerships from across the private, public, academic, and NGO sectors. So join us. Last year, we have 15,000 participant attendees at the Virtual Island Summit 2020. And this year, we expect to have more than that this number. So we have different sponsors. You can visit the islandinnovation.co website, and then you can look for the Virtual Island Summit section. And we have the speakers ready. We have the agenda, so you can check the agenda. You can check the speakers. If you are interested in know more about the Virtual Island Summit, we have ministers, we have academics, we have majors. So we are really happy to share this information with you. And if you want to check the agenda, we have the Island Stories, Pacific Opening, Plenary. So we have different variety of sessions: building resilience in agriculture and food security, developing abroad, and sustainable island curriculum. So this is important for all of you. Climate justice. We have microgrids, an economic, reliable, and sustainable path. And I can see some other, for example, COVID-19, Island Insight, and COP26. So last year we have COVID-19 Island Insight, but this year we have COP26. So if you want to know more about the Virtual Island Summit 2021, I invite all of you to check our website at islandinnovation.co, and there you can find more information about the Virtual Island Summit. So thank you so much for all of you that you are watching this really interesting session, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.